We really struggle to understand what's wrong with this young heifer's hoof in this episode. We routine trim some beautiful cow's feet and uncover a hole hidden under leaves of hoof horn on this front left foot. This is the Hoof GP.
Well, this cow's not walking very well. Oh, no, you can't go through there. She's not walking well at all. That's a really young heifer. On her back left foot. Hello, love. You alright? I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about your friend. It's strange that she's walking funny on her back left foot because her back right leg is slightly swollen. If you look from behind, you can see that's called her hock and it's swollen, but that one is the one giving her the real pain. Don't worry, love. We'll get you sorted out, I promise. When they kind of click like that, like she's kind of walking funny, I'm hoping that it is her hoof and not her leg. Come on. You're right, she's really scared, that's why she's... Oh, and I haven't opened the gate properly. Okay, and you go first. On you go. And now you. Come on, come on, come on, come on. On you go. You're fine, you're fine. No, no, you go the other way. Turn around, and down you go. Right, get her in and hopefully find the problem pretty easily. So this cow is only around 24 months old. Yes, 2 years old and already that size. She's actually a heifer and she's pre-calving. So it's a real worry that she's gone so lame on this back foot. And now that it's in the air, if she stops kicking, we can take a look at it. But it's pretty red for some reason. See, it's reddy brown kind of colour, but I can't see. A little bit of loose skin, but nothing that jumps out that's blatantly obvious. I'm actually going to leave the other foot on the ground because I showed you earlier on that she's swollen on it and I don't want it to have any negative effect. And we know it's this foot that's sore anyway, so we're definitely just going to trim this one. Right. It is a really nicely shaped foot though, isn't it? So all I'm going to do here is really buff off her foot. I don't really want to remove much height at all. Think of this as a search cut rather than actually trimming the hoof. But unfortunately, nothing is showing up. My next port of call is going to be this little raggedy bit here, but I really don't think that is the issue. And it's not. Why is... I can see brown. You can see it, can't you, Craig?
Yep.
I'm not making that up.
No.
No? Smells like... Just model out this area. We can go a bit deeper here. See if anything materializes. And it's not. Right, try here. Just snip up the inside there as well. Right. There's a little bit of loose skin around there as well, but no. That foot is looking, unfortunately, really good. Right, hoof testers. So these are hoof testers. And they're for applying pressure to a claw to hopefully pinpoint the area of pain. And by doing that, I hope that she reacts and I can understand better what is causing the problem. I'm even looking actually up the race to see if there's any red stuff on the ground, but there's not. Right. That's not good. There's no reaction at all. And then we'll try that inner claw and hope there's a reaction. No reaction at all. Nah. So unfortunately it's not a claw horn lesion as they say. Oh. We'll just wash this out just in case I'm being silly and not noticing something. Nah, look how lovely and clean it is up in there. That's the perfect interdigital space. Fortunately, it's not her foot. I didn't want to lift this foot, but I was hoping I'm wrong and that there's a problem with this, but there's not. Now that I've lifted it, I'm just gonna quickly model it out and drop it back down. You win some, you lose some, and unfortunately, this is a loss for us. I can't fix anything that's not her hoof. Now that I'm looking at her walk directly from behind, I actually think it's a problem with her stifle. Her stifle is basically her hip joint right in here in her groin, and if they pull it, they often walk with a really stiff leg like that, so it's possibly what it is. It's not really my call. Anyway, onward. So because that cow is so lame and not walking fantastically, she's in the hospital pen. There was only 2 of them there, and the first one was just a little routine job, but the second cow, which we didn't find the problem with, unfortunately goes back to the hospital pen, and hopefully the vet will have a look at her and decide exactly what's wrong with her. For us though, it's on with these ladies. Come on, come on. And there's plenty of them to do. Go on. The ones with red on their bums are not to do, but we'll just put them in anyway because it's easier. Well, it looks like a lot actually. Uh-oh, don't slip. Go on. Come on, girls. We have to get them into the pen quickly, otherwise they'll start turning around and coming back out, and then we have real issues. Come on, girls. Although not so quickly that they slip. There's quite a few red ones in there. They're not to do. So these cows have got red on their backs because they're in heat, which means that they're going to rush around like daft things because they're horny. Who knew? Well, I knew, but a lot of you didn't. They've just, off camera, they've just been a pain in the bum, haven't they? So the best thing to do when they're a pain in the bum, Craig, is
have a cup of coffee and a cup of tea.
Exactly that. So we're just going to chill and have a cup of coffee and try and... Craig received a load of I'm going to mention it and you can tell me not to. Craig was accosted this weekend. He's been helping at the festival and he parked his car to run in somewhere for 2 seconds, and when he came back out, some guy was going mental at him, filming him and screaming and beeping his horn.
Video on my car and me, because we were delivering food to the writers' retreat for the Wigtown Book Festival. So
there's a massive festival in Wigtown every year, and Craig helps out at it. He does make a little bit of money from it, but he helps out at it a lot, and it's so good for the town. And this guy was just going mental at him, rather than just saying, "Are you going to be there long?"
Yeah. And the thing was, he wasn't even going anywhere. He'd filled his trailer, but it was hours before he actually left with it.
Yeah, it turned out Craig wasn't even in his way. He just didn't like the fact that Craig had stopped on the road. Like, guys, life is too short. It honestly is. When you get angry, whose day do you make worse?
Everyone else's?
Well, everybody else's, but your own as well.
Yeah.
If I ever get flustered or upset or angry or anything like that, I realise I'm going to make my own day worse. So I just chill out and everything dissipates and it's all fine. Anyway, with the coffee drunk, this cow has been waiting in the crush rather patiently for us for the last 30 seconds or so. So Craigie boy gets all of her feet in the air while I make a start on these back feet. And look, what do you know? Well, I knew because I know this farm. Look how nice these feet are. They don't need any height or length off them. They're literally the perfect length already. So all we're gonna do is model it out. Beautiful. Just like so. Your knife needs to be a lot sharper when you're swiping up the way, by the way, because the foot isn't braced against each other. I've said it to you before, but for those of you who weren't paying attention, you know when a knife is really sharp because there are no scratch marks whatsoever, meaning that the blade has been perfectly polished. And just look at that. Mwah! Bellissimo. What does bellissimo actually mean? Beautiful? Beautiful.
Perfecto.
Perfecto would be perfect. This foot does have a very slight amount of overgrowth and it's just a tiny bit longer. So all we do is shorten that outer toe and buff down the rest of the hoof to make sure they're both perfectly the same height. And then move on to the modelling out. I suppose what you could say, technically, I model professionally. Yeah. So if anybody asks you who the Hoof GP is, please just explain to them that he is a professional model.
Or
Modeler? No, just model. Don't put the R in. Lovely. With this front foot, she does have a little bit of overgrowth, so she does need a little bit more removed from that inner claw. This is very usual and typical of cows' feet. The inside claw is slightly more overgrown than the outer one, so all we do is correct that before dropping the paddle out of the way so that we can model much more easily with the grinder. And move on to the next foot,
Which again has slightly more overgrowth on the inner claw and just a little bit too much length.
I think this outer one actually needs a little bit off too. So I do exactly what is needed by removing a small amount of hoof from the outer claw, then a much larger amount from the inner claw. These feet truly are beautiful. These are the kind of feet we love working on. I finished the trim off by grinding out that modelling area. Because remember, I model professionally. There's a bit of a crack here, so we'll just take that out because she doesn't really need that bit anyway, and I don't want it to keep cracking. That little bit there annoys me as well, so I don't want that. But yeah, there's a high bit there. Lovely. Beautiful. It's amazing how well a cup of coffee can just reset you. I was like, oh, about 10 minutes ago, and now I'm chillaxed. These cows are fantastically well looked after. Their feet are trimmed every 100 days, when I think the recommendation is about twice a year. These cows are trimmed more than 3 times a year, and it really does show in both how they look and how they perform, which is fantastic. We're just actually on the next cow, and we weren't going to film her, but if you look at this, so this cow is not lame at all, but if you look down in here, you can see that there's a browny reddy gunge in here as well. So that gunge on that first cow that we were really worried about, the one that we didn't find the problem with, and I said, well, there's some red stuff there, it's probably somewhere in the race that we can't see it, so it's quite nice to see it on another cow and to know that we didn't miss anything. Anyway, but then fortunately there are cows that we can help, and the cow in the curse right now is a perfect example of that. She's got a really sore front left foot, and this is a problem I know I can make a difference with. This inside claw is going to have a problem. You can see that her feet have been looked after, so you can still see remnants of the model out area here. That's from about 3 months ago, and probably during the last week or so she's banged that inside claw, and that is what's caused this pain. Although it's probably not all that obvious to you right now. As a hoof trimmer though, I know that all of this is going to need to be removed. She probably has an issue here because this black part of hoof horn you can see has been pared away. Anyway, that's enough jibber jabber. Let's actually do something about it. I know for a fact this outer claw is going to need a block, so we get it ready right now by reducing the entire size of it to make sure it's the correct constraints. Then move on to the inner claw. This is where the problem is, and to me it's becoming more and more obvious all the time. I'd genuinely love to know if it's becoming more obvious to you all the time too. We don't need to remove all that much material with the grinder. So in just a few moments, it's over and done with, and we can move on with the real meat of the task, the knife work. Right, so she's quite jittery, this cow. I'm not sure if it's been picked up by the camera or not, but she's been jumping around quite a lot, which is why I didn't model out with the grinder. Here you can see these leaves of hoof. That might not be the final layer. All of this here, and maybe another layer underneath. I'm not sure right now, but what I do know is I'm going to leave it right now and move on to up here. This is where we're going to remove the most hoof horn from. The reason you get these layers is the cow is ill or sore or whatever happens to her foot happens, and the growth of the hoof horn is interrupted. It's not consistent, or rather it's not constant, and as this hoof horn stops to grow, it'll peel apart because now it's been growing, and as it's growing it's obviously attached and completely firm and thick, but when it stops growing consistently, then there's a break and a detachment in the hoof horn, and that's when you get these layers. This is going to be where the problem is here. Oh, this knife isn't all that sharp. We've trimmed around 60 cows today, so it's to be expected. Like, we're homing in on the problem now. Now this could, I don't think it's going to, but it could all end up coming away. I feel slightly daunting being underneath the belly of the beast. Right, I'll work our way from up here, down, oh, code brown. Luckily I'm in the right position. Oh, you can see that there's a hole in there actually. A proper hole by the look of it. So we'll just wash that out. Jet it all out. And you can really see that hole now. I'll actually just lower the flap so it can drain out a little bit, although it's not going to. Never mind. Lift the flap back up then. Look at that. It goes right up into her foot. That is the reason for all this hassle. So because we know this hole extends up to here, and we don't want it to get compacted with muck and manure, we're going to dish out this side portion of our wall. Now this is not something you want to do. This is the structural part of her foot, and by taking it away, we're destroying the structural integrity of this claw. But we are going to give her all of that structural integrity back in a way when we put a block onto that other claw. Well, this is trimming out quite nicely actually. Go around in a circle. Back up. And then back round and down here. Just want to get the edges of this out completely and open it up as wide as we can, because we do not want to create a little pit, a little hole, a little trap for dirt to be collected in. That has already been the case for this foot. Right, I'm just going to reduce this crack now because she doesn't need this piece of hoof horn. If this was a routine trim, I wouldn't actually touch this crack because it's not really all that negative. But because we're going to put a block on, we might as well get rid of the crack, just to ensure that no problems arise because of it. And lastly, we'll just take that off. Lovely. Right, time for a block. So as always, I prepare this outer claw ready for the block and take the opportunity to reduce the toe of the inner one just that little bit more to make sure there's as little weight going through that hoof capsule as possible. And now that the block is in place, we can give this lesion one final clean. This is a wall ulcer. This block and the green spray we've applied should completely sort this out in just one visit, which is ideal. By the way, we have actually already trimmed her other 3 feet, and unsurprisingly, they are absolutely perfect. Look at that. Oh, it's beautiful. It's such a thing of beauty. And when it comes to this one, you could probably frame it, minus the smell. This front foot is also perfect. Lovely. We just need to wait a wee minute or two until that blocks or glue is completely dry. The cows are winding us up something serious today. I know it's just because they don't want to be in the crush, but it can be incredibly frustrating because you know you're just trying to do them good. And the easier they make it on us, the easier it is for them. Yes, I like sausage. Standing on it right. No, stand on it properly. Yes, that's better. Thank you very much. Just lift your foot a little bit higher than normal and you'll be fine. Right, on you go. Show us you walking. Good girl. That's it. It'll take her a little bit of getting used to. She will get there. And then her foot will heal. Her foot will heal actually really, really quickly. If we check that in 2 weeks, it would probably be completely healed. But the block should stay on for about 4 or 5 weeks so that it can thicken up and not revert back to how it is now. I think that went quite well, don't you?
Yeah, did not bad. Sorry, I've got a little frog in my throat. Frog in my throat.
Is that like froth and froth?
Yeah. It's like, you ever watch Family Guy?
Nope.
Where Steve says, Cool Whip. How do you say it? Cool Whip. I can't say it quite. But it's Cool Whip. He says Cool Whip.
Anyhow, thanks for watching. Bye.